Hey folks, back with another video. In this video, I'm going to look at the list of names floated for Joe Biden's vice presidential pick and what I think of them. So let's dive in. Now, first up is Stacey Abrams. Now, she is someone that can work with the establishment. She is well liked by the media and she fulfills the diversity quota. And currently, she is the minority leader of the Georgia House of Representatives, as well as member of the House of Representatives of Georgia. And the highlight for her that might that just screams at you is the that she is a failed Georgia gubernatorial candidate. Next up, Tammy Baldwin. Now, another candidate who is establishment approved, I would presume, and she is. I don't think the media is particularly anti her, so she'll probably get the media approval as well. And in her own way, she is diversity approved as well. She is the senator from Wisconsin. Next up, Karen Bass. Now, as far as I can ascertain, she is more or less approved by the DNC, and I'm assuming by extension the establishment. Now, her relationship with the media is not the best, so I'm assuming the media is either neutral to slightly maybe negative to her on average. But she does fulfill the diversity quota that some of the let's just say the progressives are pushing for. Currently, she is the member of the House of Representatives from California. Next up, Val Demings. Now, another candidate that is definitely establishment approved. She has, I'm gonna guess, media approval on her side as well. They're not going to be too critical of her. She definitely fulfills the diversity quota as well. And she is the member of the House of Representatives from Florida. Now, with this candidate so far, I would have to say that she's probably low on the list. In fact, each of the candidates that I've mentioned, I would assume, are pretty low on the list. Next up is Keisha Bottoms. Now, she is another one of those establishment approved, well liked by the media, another diversity quota can be also applied. She fulfills that quota as well. And she's the mayor of Atlanta. However, I don't think she is very serious candidate. I don't think that the Biden team is looking at her with much seriousness. Next up is Tammy Duckworth. She is another one of those establishment approved candidate, well liked by the media, and she fulfills the diversity quota as well. And she is a senator from Illinois. And one thing that needs to be mentioned about her is that she was a former lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army, and she has won many medals in the Army in serving her country. So I'm assuming she's gonna get the least resistance the from the general public for her. Moving on, Michelle Grisham. Now, she is, again, another one I would presume DNC or establishment approved. She's probably gonna get the media approval as well if she gets picked. She fulfills the diversity quota as well, strangely enough, and she's the governor of New Mexico. Now, this candidate, I would put her below medium likelihood for her to become the candidate. Um, I think that the Biden team may be looking at her semi seriously for this candidate. And the previous candidate, I'm assuming, for Miss Duckworth, I'm assuming she's probably in the serious category for now, in my opinion, that is. Next up is Kamala Harris. Now, she is definitely DNC approved. She is just loved by the media as well. And she fulfills the diversity quota. And she is a senator from California. I think while she is a serious candidate, and I think the Biden team is probably looking at her in the, as a pick, but I think that they are probably not going to pick her. Maybe for some other cabinet position, but I don't think for the VP that she would be the choice for them. Anyhow, moving on. Next up is Gina Raimondo. Now, she is again another one of those establishment approved, and she's probably going to get the media approval as well. She does have some now, but I think in the future, if the media is not going to be the media is not going to scrutinize her too much. And the problem is she does not fulfill the diversity quota, which is sad, and that's why I don't think she will be a serious candidate. And yes, one thing that's important is that she's a governor of Rhode Island. Anyhow, next up, it's Susan Rice. Now, she is definitely establishment candidate. Can't get more establishment candidate than this candidate. And she is definitely liked by the media. I mean, they cannot even imagine criticizing her too much. And of course, she fulfills the diversity quota, and she has some experience from being the former national security advisor and also a former ambassador to the United Nations. Now, I've heard many people say that she is probably the number one pick, and I think from the fact that she does have the experience as well as that he is sort of under the radar for the most part. I mean, she's not too, there is something I would say that, she's not like Stacey Abrams who did that MSNBC stunt or whatever it was, that mess. I mean, whereas Stacey Abrams looked like she was pushing herself with Susan Rice, it doesn't seem like she's pushing herself into anything, and that might go in her favor. Next up, Elizabeth Warren. Now, she is, of course, establishment approved. She goes just outside to distinguish herself from her colleagues, but not too far. And she is, of course, well liked by the media. However, the diversity is, I don't know. I mean, does she really fulfill that diversity quota or not, I'm very hard pressed to go one way or the other. Let's just say. But all kidding aside, she is a senator from Massachusetts. I personally don't think that the Biden camp is looking at her very seriously, even though she is being floated in the list. And there's nothing else I can say. She would probably do more damage to Biden's candidacy than anyone else. Next up, Gretchen Whitmer. Now, she is definitely DNC approved. She's well liked. Let's just say media approved as well. And unfortunately, she does not fulfill the diversity quota. She is the governor of Michigan. I'm not too, let's just say, thinking. I don't think she's being considered too seriously at this stage. So I would say it's Susan Rice or Tammy Duckworth are the two major candidates that I would be looking on those two candidates, with giving the advantage to Susan Rice, but Joe Biden could. I mean, with both of these, both Tammy Duckworth and Susan Rice, I think he can't go wrong with those two choices. Any of those two choices for VP. Anyway, share your thoughts in the comments below and what you think. That's it for this video.